Hi guys, I'm Natalie Hazen and I'm here to show you how to make your very own watermelon costume. Or I should say, the watermelon costume I used in our This Is Rad sketch, Watermelon Spears. If you have not watched that sketch, you should click here and check it out. Alright, first things first. The way I wanted this to look, I wanted it to be just a giant watermelon. No facial features, no eyes, just a watermelon with very cartoony hands and feet, etc. I talked to my friend Chris Korn, who is a special effects kind of guy, and he recommended I use chicken wire. So I ended up kind of researching online, like looking at different kind of cosplay to see if I could get an idea on how to make the costume. So I ended up deciding paper mache was going to be the cheapest option because fabric probably would have looked smoother, but it was going to be more expensive. So the first thing you want to do is you want to figure out your measurements. I measured, I wanted it to be about like 3 inches above my head to like mid-calf. So I kind of measured that out and then figured out how wide I wanted it to be. So I just went to the hardware store, bought some chicken wire. I attached the two pieces together, which actually just happened to be pretty much the right size. Warning, I had never worked with chicken wire before. That stuff is awful. I just cut myself up so much during the process of making this and trying it on. That was definitely my least favorite part. But so if you're working with chicken wire, I would recommend getting some gloves. Okay, so then I kind of sculpted the chicken wire. I cut it with wire cutters and bent it and just tried to get it to look roughly like a watermelon shape. There was no real exact scientific process to this. Like, it's still pretty lumpy at the top. I didn't do the greatest job making it smooth, but I sort of just kind of pinched it as I went up, and then I pinched the bottom so it made like a nice curve. Okay, the next thing you want to do is I wanted it to sit a little upright. I didn't want it to like rest on my head because that would honestly cut open my scalp with chicken wire. So I decided to make like a harness of sorts. I just kind of figured it out. I just used duct tape. You stick the two sticky sides together and just kind of got Kyle to help me and fit it and stuff. You kind of need a friend to do this part and figure out where the armholes are and that kind of thing. So I just made kind of like a triangle shaped and big enough to stick my head in, but to stay on my shoulders. I would recommend putting duct tape around like your sharp edges, just so it's a little, I mean, you're still gonna get cut. Like, there's no way around that. But if you want to, I use duct tape to try to at least minimize the metal jabbing into my flesh. So then your next step, here's the fun part, paper mache. What you're gonna need is a bunch of newspaper and cut it into about like 1-inch strips, just kind of long. And then you want your paper mache glue mixture. I think I used 2 parts water, 1 part flour. I can't remember. You want it to be, you can just kind of figure it out. You just want the consistency to be not too watery that it won't stick, but you don't want it to be too thick and lumpy that it just kind of takes forever to dry and just kind of falls off and stuff. So you just kind of want to go around the watermelon, laying your strips down, smoothing it out. Then once you've done, I kind of had to do it in different cycles. You know, you do the first top half first, let it dry, then flip it over, do that, the next half, let that dry, and then on to round 2 where you repeat the process. And you just want to get it as smooth as possible. I should have done, in hindsight, I wish I'd have done 3 coats, so I would recommend doing that because it's a little, you can still see some of the chicken wire indentions and stuff, so I would recommend just a third just to get it nice and smooth. Okay, so then once you've got your paper mache and it's on and it's dried, you're ready to start painting your watermelon. I went online and just tried to find different ways people used to paint watermelon. So I found like a cake decorating lady, and she kind of gave a brief overview of how she did it. So what I ended up doing is I got 2 cans of spray paint. I got a lime green and a dark green. So I painted first the entire thing just in lime green. I think it did about 2 coats, and the can just about covered it. Then the next thing you want to do is get your dark green spray paint and just kind of do like long stripes around it. And it creates like a nice airbrush effect, so it does look kind of realistic. So I think it turned out pretty good overall. Word of warning, with this, you are not going to be able to see anything. You're going to be totally blind. So if you want to do, like, be able to see out of it, what you probably want to do is cut out some of the chicken wire in front of your eyes and put like a mesh or some kind of fabric so you can see out of it. And to get inside, it's basically just a big wiggle. You just have someone kind of hold it, and you just kind of snake in and then get the harness over your head, and then it kind of comes down. But please be careful because it is pointy and sharp, and you should take time to make sure you don't gave yourself tetanus. Alright, and then the last part of the process is you want to accessorize. So I wanted green arms and legs. So what I ended up doing, and you could use a t-shirt or some kind of leggings, but I found that the cheapest option was to get 2 pairs of green tights. And so I just wore 1 pair of tights regular, and then I took the other pair of tights and just cut the legs off and just wore them like a sleeve of my arm. And then the gloves were just white winter gloves I borrowed from Kyle, and the shoes were just my very attractive running shoes. So overall, I managed to create the giant watermelon for about $50, not counting the price for the tights and etc. But I feel like that's a pretty good deal, and I'm just happy to help anyone out there in the YouTube community who wants to make a giant watermelon costume for themselves. I definitely support the cause. So thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.